Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. Denise Gomes versus Bruna, Brazil. Gomes is 23 years old, got a record of 6-2, and she's fighting Brazil, who's 29 years old and has a record of 8-2. Brazil is also the bigger girl, 4 inches of height, 3 inches of reach. Gomes made her UFC debut last year fighting Loma Lookboonmee, or this year, whatever, I don't know. Loma Lookboonmee won by decision, but still, Denise looked like a good fighter. I was impressed with her. I didn't expect her to fare that well against Loma, especially on short notice and with all the horse shit. But she performed very well, especially down the stretch in that fight. I thought she was extra aggressive in round 3, to no avail. She did lose the decision, I thought. But she impressed me, especially with short notice and whatever, to be that, game. I was impressed with her. She had a nice spinning back elbow and a guillotine choke or whatever in round 3. But, in general, Loma was just too much for her. And there's no shame in that loss because, whatever. It's a really tough debut. On top of just making UFC debut against an established fighter, Loma's a little more unique and tricky than most. Her signature win, Gomes, I guess, would come against Milana Dudieva, who used to fight in the UFC way back when Aaron Phillips was making his debut in the UFC. But that was a beautiful comeback. She was hurt badly in that fight, controlled, almost submitted, dominated on top, dropped multiple times, I think 3 times in that fight, and just not looking good at all. And then she poured it on and got Milana Dudieva out of there in round 3, which, to be honest, that is kind of Dudieva. That was Dudieva's MO, in my opinion, as a loser. When she loses fights, it's most likely to be her falling apart in round 3, but still, to get it done, especially after going through all that shit against a fighter, bigger, stronger, in her prime, whatever, that was a very impressive victory for Gomes. And she was very young, she still is, 23 years old now. So she might have been 21 when that happened or whatever. But still, she's got a lot of developing to do. She's a game fighter. I think she's pretty solid everywhere. She doesn't have a submission victory, but still, I like what I saw from her in the Loma Lookboonmee fight. Her 6 wins include 4 TKOs, 2 decisions, and her 2 losses are to Loma, the decision, and she was TKO'd in her debut, which I wasn't able to see, but that was in round 2. I don't know. Bruna, Brazil, she's 8-2. She, you probably saw her get that knockout on the Contender Series, a beautiful head kick knockout. I mean, she was kicking the shit out of her anyway, but then landed a beautiful head kick. That's not her signature win, but it's her signature moment. That's her signature highlight, and it was fucking beautiful. And it really shows the danger this girl can bring. She's the bigger girl, again, 4 inches of height, 3 inches of reach, and she's really good at fighting long. Not just that head kick and the front kicks and whatever, but I like her at range. She throws really good combos and also really good takedowns from range, really. She strikes her way in, and I like her wrestling. Her takedowns anyway. Bruna, Brazil's got a little more well-versed victories here, victory pattern. She's got 8 wins, 3 via TKO, 2 via submission, 3 via decision. And the 2 losses both come via TKO. She lost to Jessica Correa Del Boni, beat her with a TKO in round 2. That was an injury, though. That was her leg given out on her knee or whatever. She just collapsed, and it was a competitive fight up until then. And the first fight I didn't see, but it was her debut, and she lost to Ariane Canellosi via TKO in round 1. Canellosi's the big, strong monster who currently fights in the UFC, so I can envision that. But having not seen it and only seen that one loss in which she was injured, she looks very good. She's beaten some good girls, too. Better girls than Gomes has beaten outside the UFC. Girls that are going to get really good with age. Some girls where she's their only loss. There's one girl, Alexa Tayanar. She got her with a guillotine in round 3, which was a very impressive victory because I think that girl's going to get a lot better. And I also think that she showed a lot in that fight because in round 2, things were starting to get away from her. and she was being smothered on the inside. She was taken down with a head and arm throw, which is never a great look. But she ended up having an answer when the girl Alexa was crowding her, getting inside. She thought it was too easy to take her down. She made her pay with a guillotine, kind of like the way Adesanya made Pereira pay for stalking him against the cage there. But it was nice to see her get a solid victory like that, and she has a lot of upside, and I'm picking her to win. I'm picking Bruna Brazil to win. I really like what I've seen from Denise Gomes, but I really, really like what I've seen from Bruna Brazil. And considering the physical advantages, I'm just much more inclined to side with Brazil. Gomes is tough, although at the same time, she showed vulnerability with Dudieva. With Melania Dudieva hurting her with the big strikes and, all throughout that fight and dropping her, I do think Bruna Brazil, at the very least, could have some big moments against Gomes, if not put her away. And I really wish I saw that TKO loss for Gomes so I knew what it looked like, but I didn't. Anyway, the pick is Bruna Brazil. I guess I'd go with her getting a decision victory, but I'm not married to it at all. I am married to the money line, though, at minus 160, Bruna Brazil. I got that in parlays, and I've played it straight. I really like what I see from her, and she's got size and everything on her side. Denise Gomes, though, is tough and scrappy, and she showed she could hang with a fighter like Loma Lukbume. I just think this is going to be a much different fight. And she also, she lost to Loma Lukbume. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. We'll see what happens. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.